This panel is called Russian Aggression Towards the Ukraine and is a special focus around the invasion of the Ukraine by Russian forces, which happened on the 24th of February 2022.
Right now, what is happening in Ukraine right now? An oath is being upheld, an oath that has been made on August 24th, 1991. That was an oath of independence. Generation after generation, this oath was passed by blood through the father to the son. Now, in this troubling time, this oath stirs and calls us to action. It overtakes the mind and propels the body. You would ask me of a situation in Ukraine. Ukraine fights. The land, the people, the spirit of the forefathers, blessed by St. Andrew himself, Ukraine fights. And it will continue to fight until the red stars fall forever and Ukraine, Russia, Belarus, Chechnya, Georgia and Moldova will be free once again. Help us now, and you will devote yourself to a noble and holy cause. Help us, Europa. Help us, Russia, Belarus, Moldova, Georgia, and Chechnya. And we shall stand together and watch silently and in consolation as our business will be finished and the red star will shatter and the people shall know light and peace.
But if we really want to talk about solidarity and want to use the solidarity that I think the world is feeling towards Ukraine right now, then we have to share that burden. And we have to support both those who have fled, but also those who have stayed behind. And just a reminder that education, it doesn't depend on schools and universities being open. That's not the end all and be all. It requires teachers and professors to be there, it requires libraries to be open, but it also requires young people and children to be able to sleep at night and be sure that there's not an air raid siren that's going to go off. Because if you don't sleep, you're not going to be able to study. It requires you to feel safe when you drive or walk to school or to university. And it requires you to have enough food, enough water, etc. But it also requires you to just feel safe. And to know that you're not going to lose a friend or a parent or loved one. And at that stage, education kind of falls to the wayside in terms of what's important.
Everyone that was in that territory that is now being invaded by Russia, then there's a direct violation to their right to education. They can continue because there's an aggression. And we sadly have also know that in war times, it's usually educational institutions which are used as military outposts or strategic positions to wage war. So we know that this is a complete, there's a complete stop, there's a halt in the right for students to have an education and for academics to do their research as well. And this is a direct consequence to the war, and then we need to help these people, first of all, get out of the country and then resume their education or their research work.
But right now, our Ministry of Education and Science in Poland has prepared information for each interested person, like students and also scientists coming from Ukraine, about continuing the studies and researches in Poland. And it's possible for free, of course. They just need to choose the higher education institution they would like to continue their scientific career. We also prepared 1,000 places for Ukrainian students and Ukrainian youths interested in studying in Poland, because we have to remember that right now also Ukrainians will write a final test and they're going to study on the next academic year. So the number of them, the students, will be increasing during this few months.
So what we have been calling for is to ensure that the Ukrainian authorities extend the same support that they're extending to the citizens and to the students to all other African students and every other international student. And one of the highlights, and for me, it was an anticlimax for me, when an Indian student was caught in the inferno, and I so quickly had to raise concern about that, because the safety of these students are paramount to us, because the ongoing conflicts have no direct bearing on them, and it is no
urging the Indian government or whichever government to make sure the future of the students who left Ukraine to have a peaceful transition to their studies back in their respective countries itself, if possible. So it will be beneficial for the students, such that they won't have this traumatic experience, considering their mental health and financial stabilities and other things related to this actually.
From my side, I think also the crucial is to do not lose the momentum of this solidarity working. So to keep using that that communication information forms, to keep using the tools that we are having, because just that we did something once, it's not meaning that it shouldn't be repeated, because actually this is the activity that is giving the strength, and that's in the mass people can do it. So to be actually consecutive in that, and do not kind of get this whole actions to remain our daily activities.
If you wish a concrete way of helping, I have found, at least again from my experience, that it depends where you are in the world. So if you are in Poland, right, if you are in Slovakia or Hungary or Romania, countries which are close to Ukraine physically, consider either joining the efforts of the Red Cross or of the Students' Union to send humanitarian relief directly. If you are further out west, right, in Western Europe, social media is a great way to provide assistance. Keep the people posted, right? Keep yourself and those close to you updated on the situation. In this way, we can all work in concert to produce a steady stream of support. And in this way, the entire European community can show its commitment to helping Ukraine come victorious